Okay. Should be streaming. I'm gonna go ahead and send out the tweets. Get the bot up there. And I really need to do better at identifying uh, I can't talk tonight apparently. The Discord icon because I keep having to search for it in my taskbar, even though there's only like 10 icons there. Alright, posting that there. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is February 15th, and this is the February 15th Text Quest Devstream. I will get back into the swing of talking, I swear. So I'm finally off of work at a decent time this week. Past couple of days I've been at work until at the very earliest 6-ish. So it's been a late week for me. Oh, and actually before I forget, I should probably go ahead and commit my stuff here. Okay. So today we are going to be focusing on garbage generation. We're going to be jumping ship from post-process effects, mostly because I'm still kind of uncomfortable with the post-process system, and I also would prefer to kind of do that last. I've always been of the opinion that post-process effects should not be leaned on while you're developing the levels. Instead, you should try to basically get the levels to look as much like you want them to as possible, and then tweak them finally with post-processing. So I'm fine holding off on that for a little bit more, or a little bit longer, at least until I can learn that system a little bit more in depth. So we're going to be switching gears here and going on to optimization, because I would actually like to try. It's been a while since I've run this on my laptop, but I would actually like to make a build soon and give it a test on my laptop to see what my frame rates are. What my resolution has to be, because currently to get the game to run at a stable 30 frames per second on my laptop, I do have to run it at 720p, which is, it's not a terrible resolution, but I really think that my game should not be so intense that you cannot run it at 1080p on my laptop. So I would like to eventually get to that point. We're not there yet, but tonight we're going to take some steps to get there, I think. And we're going to start with garbage generation. Now, for those who don't know, garbage is basically, and this is a grossly oversimplified definition of it, garbage is basically sort of like a buildup of resources that are allocated as you request them in your code. So every time you request an array or a list, a little bit of garbage is generated because that list and array has to be kept in memory. In your memory. So garbage is generated whenever you do that. Same thing happens whenever you create something immutable like a string, or whenever you do string concatenation. Tons of garbage is created. So ideally, you want to have as little garbage being generated as possible in your game. Now, of course, no program is perfect, and there's always garbage that gets generated. But the goal is to minimize the amount that's being generated. Garbage is the reason why if you might have seen this occasionally. Developers will talk about leaving their game on for like 3 days, so that they can see where memory is being leaked. And that's because garbage is slowly building up usually, and eventually it will cause performance problems, it'll cause stuttering in your frame rate, and it could potentially lead to a crash if you have a ton of garbage being generated and it's not being cleaned up properly. Now, Unity is well, it automatically collects garbage to a point. It is possible to overwhelm that, but that takes kind of intentional garbage generation at that point. But for the most part, it's essentially a process that's going to happen, but we want to try and mitigate it. That's the long and short of it. Oh, whoa, wait, hold on. I got like a message on Twitch on my video, but not in the chat. That's interesting. Huh. Well, okay then. Anyway, let's go ahead and refresh that page. And I'm going to start by just running in the scene real quick. And we're going to see where our pain points are. I have the profile window opened on my left monitor, so you guys can't see it. I'll drag that over in a second. so that we can actually see what everything looks like. But we're just going to look around. I'm going to move, and we're going to pause. Okay, so I'm going to drag the profile window over here. It's going to be incredibly tiny because there's really a lot of... Oh, crap. That was a stupid thing. I didn't turn on deep profile. So the profile window, or the profiler window, lets us basically examine where the intensity, or where all the resources are going for our scripts, for rendering, for a variety of things. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back. Also, just so you're aware, it was weird. I got like a message saying that you had commented on the video, but not in the chat. Are those two separate things now? I didn't realize. I also got, apparently in like the week, or the half a week that I've been off of the stream, they've added things like rooms and a bunch of other things that I need to look into, so that was interesting. Either way, welcome back. How are you doing today? Alright, so turning on deep profile basically lets us do a more in-depth sampling of our resources, and it lets us drill down. This is going to be really annoying. There's not a lot of screen real estate here. It basically lets us drill down so that we can see very specific things. So you can see that if this sampling was taken without deep profile on, and all we basically get is that the FPS input.update function has some garbage being generated in it. And menu controls has some garbage being generated in it, but it doesn't really tell you exactly where it's being generated in that. And you're not going to get something as specific as like a line command or a line number that tells you where garbage is being generated. But it will tell you the function that it's being generated in, and you can kind of guess from there where you need to go to clean things up. So we're going to turn on deep profile, and then we're going to run in the scene again for a few seconds, and then we're going to stop, scrub through this timeline, and we're going to see where garbage is being generated. Now, I was actually surprised. I haven't really profiled TextQuest before. Let's go ahead and let that go for a couple of seconds. Pause. That gives us a good sampling. Go ahead and stop. And I actually am generating far less garbage than I thought I was. I seem to hover around 40 megabytes of garbage, which is pretty... I mean, that's actually pretty bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as I'm used to for my work, or the stuff that I do at work. We had some pretty atrocious garbage generation going on. But I've been cleaning that up, so that's why I'm kind of on a garbage cleanup kick. Yeah, I clicked on your icon, took me to a video, thought it was a stream. Huh. Interesting. I wonder... It's weird, because it also looked like the video that you commented on was the stream. So, whatever. Alright, so we can see here that we have about 15 kilobytes, a little under that, being generated in update. So let's go ahead and drill down here. So we have FPS input update is generating about 7 kilobytes of that. We're going to leave that alone for now because that's not a script that I wrote. It's a third-party asset, and I want to steer clear of that for as long as possible, but we'll eventually get to that, I'm sure. Menu controls is something that I started to work on, and, well, I didn't actually start to work on it. I just took a look at it before the stream. So you can see that we're generating... this is so annoying. We're just going to do this. There we go. You can see that we're generating about 6.3 kilobytes of garbage from all of this, and it looks like we're getting a bunch... well, most of it's generated from these 4 sections. Now we can drill down even farther, and you can see that it's coming from things like this, enum to string. That is actually not super great. So we're going to try to get rid of these 2 string calls, because anytime you generate a string, some garbage is made. So ideally, we actually want to try to mitigate the amount of strings that we're dealing with, either by converting them to ints somehow. In the cases of enums, ints are usually just fine to convert to, or using string builder. That's not really going to help us for enums, but it'll help for things like JSON objects, which I know we're going to get to later today because that's not super optimized right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our menu controls update, which I have here, and let's see. What the heck? There we are. So first things is, let's go for, let's see, get string. I thought that there was, here, open input menu. That's interesting. None of those are what I was expecting them to be, but let's go ahead and see what looks like it's going to be generating garbage here. So we could do this get fade view. Is that going to give us problems? Go to definition. Yeah. So this find is probably going to give us some problems. I am willing to bet I'm using system.link. I am. System.link I knew from past experience that system.link was pretty bad at generating garbage, but recently I was made aware of how bad it is. So we're probably going to want to actually change this. So instead of views.find and then passing in a lambda function like this, we're going to have to use a for loop. Now this will increase the size of our code, or rather the length of our code, but it's not really going to make it more complex or anything. It just means that we kind of have to take a more base approach to these things. We can't use these nice one-line loops because they'll be generating garbage. Although I would like to make sure that that is actually the case before we jump down that road. So let's see here. Let's go back here. And we're just going to close these. Okay. So options dot get open input menu or pause. So let's go ahead and go down here and pause. Let's see. Here we are. Oof. Okay, so that would be why this is like that. Yeah, we can definitely change that. So this has to do with key bindings, and in particular, we are probably going to want to change this. So the way I was handling this stuff is actually not super great. And for now, I'm actually just going to return, I know this is going to be kind of a cop-out, but we're just going to return pause default. And we're going to do the same thing for sprint and all of that, because I don't actually have my customizable keyboard bindings done yet, so I'm not too worried about, and I get the feeling that it's going to actually change a lot, because this is not how we do things anymore. So we're just going to return sprint, wow, I can't spell, sprint default. So it was converting those enums into strings, which is where we were getting, if you remember a couple of these things, we're getting, if we look at that, you'll see enum to string, so we want to get rid of all of that, basically. That will cut down at least 1 kilobyte of garbage per frame per key that was being referenced. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of this. Just going to say return crouch default. Okay. Oh, I'm seeing those rooms now in the chat. Yeah, there's only one room right now. It's the Steam chat. I'm assuming that's a room anyway. If that's not the room, then there are other things. I can create like a subscriber room and a moderator room. I haven't done that yet because I'd like to sit down to know what those things are. But probably on the next stream I'll have that stuff up, so you guys can mess with that, because I've not actually seen that before, so I'm curious to know what it is and how to use it properly. All right, let's go ahead and make this comment. Say return jump default, comment you out, comment return, move right, oops, default. Okay, all of the repetitive code. I apologize, I didn't realize that this was still in here. Return, let's see, move backward, default. So we're going to try and just kind of skirt through this real quick. Return, move left, default. Return, move forward, default. All right. So that should be almost everything that I need. We have pause, interact will need to change a fair amount. Return, interact, default. Okay. I think the subscribers room just allows subs in, and if you promote people to mods, then only those can be left into those room. That's a good point. All right, let's go ahead and create a subscriber room. So there is a subscriber room, which that means you should be able to see that, Scorpio. If you want to see what that does / looks like. It kind of seems like it's just It kind of seems like it's just another chat area. That's kind of weird. I don't know why they would do that. Because that just encourages separation of the community. Return. Let's see, we're going to say open input menu default. Oh my goodness, I have way too many of these things. Comment out. Comment out. Return. Open inventory default. Well, while I'm doing this, I think it's funny that I always remember that when I'm almost done doing something. If you haven't heard, ProBuilder is apparently integrated into Unity now, and it's going to be free. So starting with 2018.1, I believe. ProBuilder is a pretty good asset if you're doing any sort of level modeling or really any sort of quick modeling inside of Unity. ProBuilder will be a really cool asset for you to mess around with. It's something that I've used in the past. If you've seen some of my older streams, you'll have seen me use it. I haven't used it in a while on stream because I haven't really needed to, but it's actually a pretty cool tool. It's got a bunch of cool features in it. Open verbs default. Okay, so all of that has been cleaned up now. At least I hope so. I should probably make sure that that's actually the case. Let's go all the way up here. Player pref keys. Yep. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and let that compile. And let's see. Open help. We'll probably actually run the scene again, just to see where garbage is being generated, because I don't think that these are going to be valid anymore. So as of right now, on this frame, in in the past before we made those updates, menu controls.update was generating about 6.3 kilobytes of garbage per frame. So you can see that highlighted here. So with those changes, I think that will go down to 0. Let's watch. Let's see anything else. Yeah, we'll probably deal with interaction next. Okay, we'll go ahead and play. Yep, I can get into subscribers room, and it has a lock next to it. Mine is unlocked. Bet you made a mod room I could get in. Alright. So we're gonna let that go for a little bit. Then we're gonna stop. Yeah, I'll go ahead and make the mod room just so that you can test that. Kind of curious. Hello, Garrett. Welcome back. How are you doing today? As always, my answer to how's it going is, we'll see how the stream goes. Although I'm pretty positive about today's stream. It's not going to go like last Saturday. Last Saturday was pretty bad. And I'm actually curious. Wait, can I not? Yeah, I can totally go into the subscriber room. Oh, interesting. So anyone who posts and is a subscriber, they can. It's like filtering basically. So I can see what subscribers have said, and it just isolates everything else. I'm guessing that's the same for moderators. That's interesting. In any case, what we're working on today, Garrett, is garbage collection. Well, garbage generation. We're going to be reducing it a bunch. So, we've reduced menu controls.update from 6 kilobytes of garbage per frame down to 104 bytes. And I'm sure we can actually get that even lower. And it is the get that causes problems here. Unfortunately, I don't know much beyond that. I was hoping I would get something from list. I get the feeling that it's the find here, but we'll hold off on that for now. Okay, so let's see. FPS input.update. Wow, I really don't have a ton of garbage being generated here. Kind of makes it hard for me to clean it up. I can go into the room, but not chat, which seems correct. Oh, so you guys can see the rooms, but you can't post unless you're a subscriber or a moderator? Huh. Interesting. It could be that only moderators can see the moderator room. I could believe that. Anywho, let's go ahead and scrub this a little bit. Let's see. Here we are. We're at 2. Okay, so FPS is apparently where a lot of our garbage is going to come from. And it's game settings. Oh, really? Ooh, we might have a pretty big retrofit for this stuff. Great. This is the second time that I've changed this system. First time was at work, and the system at work that we use is based on my JSON work for TextQuest. So it's kind of a weird parody. I have like 4 or 5 different versions of this system in my head at this point. I think I actually know what this is going to be. This is going to be, yep. So we're going to want to change that. Hooray. Mod room. Don't see that. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I'm assuming that just based off of these 2 rooms right now, the purpose of these rooms is to isolate what's been said in the regular chat? That's kind of weird. Like, I guess I can post in the subscriber room by itself, and presumably that wouldn't show up in chat. I guess let me test that real quick. Yeah, so that didn't show up in chat. Okay. But it did show up in the room. Interesting. One more test. I want to test this real quick because I'm kind of curious. So I posted that in regular chat. It does not show up in the subscriber room. Interesting. That could be because I own it. Whatever. Anyway, so we're going to do some JSON optimization here. This is going to be fun. Let's see here. So JSON bool and number string is not optimized yet. So we're going to optimize my JSON library, which is basically going to entail doing a lot of string builder stuff. So I'll be able to talk kind of at length about how garbage generation works and how to reduce it using strings. Using string builders, not strings. How's your guys' Valentine's Day? It was all right. I did not get as much work done on TextQuest as I should have. Let's see, new string builder. All right. Get rid of you. Okay, so we're going to say append that. And basically all we're going to do is convert all of this to append. So string builders are kind of a... Oh, and also we don't need to do that. That. But this is string concatenation, so I don't actually want to do that. I need to do this, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and grab this, pull this in, get rid of this, and get rid of you. There we go. So we're not doing string concatenation there. Grab this, grab that. So it's like Discord rooms. Yeah, I guess that's the case. Although it's weird, because your first comment, I can see it in the subscriber room. Hello, Bo2015. Heyo, back. How are you doing today? Also, welcome to the stream. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for these guys. We're going to be moving this up to here. Get rid of that. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. This. So the reason that I'm adding these at separate points is because otherwise it would be a string concatenation, which would generate some extra garbage. Doing it this way is just appending strings and chars to a string builder, which does not generate garbage, unless it has to, unless its size has to reallocate, in which case it actually would happen here. So we're going to actually change this to have a capacity of char array.length, and that should more or less be what we need. Okay. Doing all right. Moving tomorrow. Oh, that's rough. How far are you moving off? Oh, like a mile? That's not too bad. Mostly it's just going to suck moving the big stuff, like chairs and beds. Well, a bed. If you have more than one bed to move, you might have a problem, or just a really big house, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay, and one more, not to string. Okay, so that should now be, let's go ahead and say output dot toString. So like I said, there's no way to be perfect and never generate garbage, because we will always have to generate some garbage by converting our string builder to a string. But at the very least, we can reduce all of the garbage that was resulting from us generating or concatenating a bunch of strings up here. Let's go ahead. We're going to say return that. Okay. And to make sure that I'm not doing something really, really stupid, I am going to go to a test scene real quick. That's going to have just a really basic JSON test script in here. Let's go ahead and create a... Where are you? Let's say canvas. There it is. I'm going to create a texture or an image. Have that stretch all the way across. What is up with the lag? It's compiling, that's why. Lease is ending and I hate my landlord. Well, until this landlord, I would have said, don't we all? This is actually my current landlord I really like. He's the first landlord I think I've ever met that I actually enjoyed talking to. New place is better, though. Yeah, no, that's the worst part about moving, honestly, is the big stuff. Because it's heavy and it's awkward. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just generate a, let's see, we'll say a TextMesh Pro input field. God, all the lag. It's really bad. So all we're going to do is just have a text field on the left that's going to, or an input field on the left that's going to allow us to input some JSON. And then a text field on the right that will let us basically show that JSON as it's parsed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to parse JSON and then re-stringify it to the right. So it should look more or less the exact same. And if that's the case and there are no errors, then I know that everything's working as it should. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go over here. Okay, we're going to change this to, we're just going to call this input. We're going to have this be stretched all the way. We'll have it be stretched to like 0.4 with 50 and 50 and 50. Let's see here. We're going to have our, where's our background actually? Ah, here we are. So we're going to darken that just a little bit. We're going to make our text colors white so they're easier to read. All right, and let's also, I'm not too worried about creating a scroll rect or anything like that for now. Let's go ahead and just duplicate this. We'll call this output. Okay, we're going to have this be from 0.6 over to 1. Say 50 from the right. And we're not going to have placeholder text. It's going to be empty. And that's pretty much all we need. So let's make a quick, right, I guess I'll call this JSON test. We're going to want a quick button in the middle, won't we? UI, button, button, button. Okay, I'm just going to have this say parse. Let's see. Do I play D&D? Well, thank you for the almost refollow. Yeah, I haven't played D&D in quite some time. Not because I don't enjoy it. I really do like D&D. But I have really, really bad luck. But mostly with dice. I don't know what it is, but anything that involves dice, I have the worst luck in the world. Um, and you might think that I'm joking when or being hyperbolic when I say that. No, I have seemingly impossible luck or anti-luck or whatever the term would be when it comes to dice. I have God, I have tons of stories. They're all kind of long though, so I can't really. Well, we do have time, so I'm sorry if I bore you too much. But so to give you a sense of how bad I am with dice, um, or with die, uh, I went to Gen Con 2 years ago with a buddy of mine, and we played a miniatures game that involved, moving miniatures around, getting into melee range, and fighting each other, and then rolling dice to, figure out what the outcome was. And I had 4 of my miniatures, which was like most of my army, on one of my friend's miniatures, just one of them, which gave me something called pile on, which meant that all of my rolls were +2 and all of his were -2. And I got to attack, 4 times. He couldn't move. There were other penalties that he was suffering. So basically, as long as I rolled more than a 1 on any of my dice, then I would kill him. And I rolled what must have been about 12 die, and every single one of them just failed to do any damage to him, or I just missed. And I got 2 turns doing that, and none of my attacks hit him. That's how bad my dice luck is. All right, so we're gonna say using TM Pro. So yeah, I do really like D&D though, but I haven't played it in a while. So we're gonna say, we'll just be quick and dirty about this. TMP underscore input field. We'll say input public TMP underscore input field output public button. Oh right, I need to. Hold on, I forgot the using Unity Engine.ui. Kind of important. And we're just gonna call that button. We'll say parse button. Parse button. Yeah, no, I seriously have really bad luck. Void on parse. Clicked. Private void start. Okay, so we're just gonna say input. We don't even need to do that. We're just gonna say parse button dot on click dot add listener on parse clicked. Come up here. We're just gonna say JSON object. JSON is equal to input dot JSON. Oh, that's not Wait, is there really a JSON thing? Okay, I was like, wow, really? Dot text dot nothing, because I did that backwards. Why did I do that backwards? JSON parser dot parse. Okay, that'll give us our object, and then we're just going to say output dot text is equal to JSON dot to formatted string. Okay, let that compile. So all we're going to do is just paste some JSON in over here. We'll hit parse, and then we will get something accurate out on the right. And if that's the case, then our JSON parser is working. So, and the JSON that we are going to use is, we'll just grab one of our JSON files. Let's see. So we'll grab one of our interaction files because that should work. Let's see. Let that compile. All the bridge stuff. Fallen bridge. Here we go. Collapsed bridge 2. That should be fine. Just going to open this up and copy and paste. It's going to be a lot of JSON. Okay, we're going to come up here. Input. Let's go ahead and paste that. All right. And finally, we're going to have our test. We have our input, our output, and then our button. Cool. So let's go ahead and test this. This is actually going to be kind of interesting because I'll be able to say or see exactly what the cost of my parser is in this scene through the profiler. That's kind of cool. So we're going to come up here, and it's like mostly nothing, which makes sense. And then I'm going to hit parse, and then, oh my, massive spike! Let's see how much. Oh! 61 megabytes! Alright, alright. That's bad. That's really bad. God. Okay, that's not my fault. Maybe. Okay, that looks like it's TextMesh Pro. We'll keep drilling down just to be sure, though. Yeah, okay. So that's all TextMesh Pro. Whew. That's a bit much. Man, TextMesh Pro, 60 megabytes of garbage? Well, it's probably that. It's because it's resizing an array. Ah, why? Ugh. Well, that's kind of terrible. But then again, that's a rather isolated incident. I don't think we ever will have a TextMesh Pro array or TextMesh Pro label that's got this much text in it. So in any case, it seems like that worked. We didn't get any errors out, so looking good. Let's continue our optimization then. JSON string. So this is done. Then it's doing everything that I would expect. Everything is working out pretty much correctly. Oh, you know what? We might as well optimize this just a little bit more and say output dot insert. I cannot type tonight. Insert. So we're going to insert at 0, and the value is going to be a string. And then we'll say output dot append. That's also going to be a string. We're just going to put this in here. Okay. And that actually means I could probably cut this out and just do this. Ha! Brilliant! Even streamlined my code a little bit. Get rid of you, and ooh, I can get rid of you now too. Haha! Alright. So, more optimized JSON string. Now the real crazy stuff is going to start happening when we get into JSON value collection and the objects and arrays, because those are kind of crazy. But you can see that I'm doing like a really terrible job with a bunch of strings that are just being concatenated here. So we're going to change that so that it's just one single string builder that doesn't get concatenated and just gets appended and then finally converted to a string at the end. That should help generate much less garbage. So we're going to set that private using system.text. Oh, and as a little preview of something that we're going to do after the JSON stuff, the next thing that I want to tackle is physics, and I'm going to show you guys how to use Unity raycasting without generating garbage, because every time you do a raycast in Unity, there's at least some garbage generated from the raycast hit that's created, but I'm going to show you a method that will not generate garbage whenever you call it, and can be used to actually get a pretty decent a couple of different uses out of it. Yep, no alloc. It's the raycast or raycast non-alloc, I think. So we're going to start by saying string builder output is equal to string. Oh, sorry, not new string builder. Okay. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than JSON utility dot current indent. Wow, that was terrible. I plus plus. Okay, we're going to say output dot append, and we're just going to do this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do that at the end as well because we're going to need that. I see assets that still haven't updated to use it. Yeah, Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing about the asset stores, that occasionally you'll get assets that have their own code and they just aren't using very optimized things. At work recently, I there was an asset that wasn't caching transforms or doing anything to decrease garbage. I think when I optimized it, we cut garbage generation by like tens of kilobytes per frame. It was crazy. Um, anyway, so next we're going to say output.append begin marker, and then we're going to say output.append JSON utility, new line. Let's go ahead and just kind of smush these things together. We're going to do that again, but before we do that, we're going to call collection to formatted string right about here. Okay, and then we're going to call left. That's all good. New line, and then we're just going to copy this, paste you, make it an end marker. Okay, I did that wrong. I got to move the for loop up here. So this needs to go to here. Yes, to here. Go ahead and space that out. And then we will return output.toString. Nice and easy. Let's go ahead and I guess that's fine. I don't really need to use this though. That's a string concatenation, but it's not terrible. When they're concatenated like this all at once, it's actually not a terrible thing, because at least it optimizes it and does it all at once. It's really only a problem if I did like begin marker plus collection screen, then semicolon, then collection string plus end marker. That'd be a far less optimal way of doing that. But this should be fine for now. If it becomes too much of an issue, then we can always string builder it, but that's not really gonna save us much, I think, there. All right, let's go ahead and let that compile. We'll run this test again, and then we'll move on to JSON arrays next. I think that would be a better thing to do. And then we'll end with JSON, well, we'll quickly go through JSON object, and then we'll end with a quick adjustment to JSON array, or not JSON array, JSON parser. And then we'll get on to some physics stuff, which will actually also include, I'm really going to try to do this, and I hope that I can get it to work right, some fancy editor scripting. That will be a field that lets you select physics layer names and physics layer int IDs, because that's not something that's easily done right now as far as I know. And having that will actually be pretty useful for a couple of things. So, oh no, there's a storm coming through and my internet is lagging. Well, am I cool enough to have quality settings? I'm not, I'm sorry. I'm not cool enough to have quality settings. So, yeah, I think the protocol for when you have a storm that's annoying, you're supposed to run outside, tear your shirt off, and scream into the rain. I believe that that's how you're supposed to handle it. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, parsing seems to work. Oops, can't really do that. I guess I have to scroll. Oh wait, hold on. Verbs, climbable, burn info, burn info. Yep, that all checks out. Cool. Let's go ahead and stop. Okay, JSON value doesn't really have anything useful. Let's go ahead and go to JSON array. All right. Private list JSON values, that's good. Number values, bool values, all this stuff is fine. Not really going to get around having to generate new lists every time. So if I was crazy, I could go through and do like serious optimizations on the array to the extent that I would have a bunch of independent lists, but it would get way too crazy, way too fast. So let's go ahead and go down to, we're pretty much just going to optimize the bottom, which is where we call toString. All right, Yeah, so this is where it gets a little nuts. Um, Although, actually, I don't know. That's, yeah. Yeah, I started with that original D&D basic set. Oh, the 81 basic D&D set. I really should get a group together here. It's kind of hard to do that, though, unless you already know someone. Um, right. Oh, geez, this thing. Okay. So we are going to want... Let's see. A couple of things. Let's start with... I need to say using system.text at the top, don't I? Yep, using system.text. Scroll all the way back down here. We're going to say string builder output is equal to new string builder. And I really don't have a good default allocation for that, so I guess we're just going to comment these two things out. Okay. So I'm not going to do a for each loop. I'm also going to do a for loop. Okay. So I believe... Right, so this is going to get a little weird, but I think we can do it. Gotta remember how to do this right. For int I equals 0, I is less than values.count, I plus plus. We're going to say output.append, and I think I need a for loop for this. So I need to say for int j equals 0, j is less than JSON utility dot what? Timeout. Okay, fine. Dot current indent. And we're gonna put this in there. J plus plus. Go down to here. We're gonna say output dot append. Okay. Gonna need a lot of pencil and paper, and actually, I guess you could just do that straight in Discord then with text. It'd be very hard to format the characters to make them look right, but you could do it, I guess. So that inputs our initial padding. Then we're going to need to append the actual value. So we'll say output.append values of I dot to formatted string. Let's see, output dot add. This is a little awkward. I don't think we need this anymore, because I think that's what this would have done. Oh, no. That's right. I need to do this. If I is less than values.count minus 1, then we will say output.append JSON utility value separator. Oh, and a new line. So let's go ahead and grab that. Okay. That should work. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Oh, and I need to change this to output.toString. ToString. Aha! Okay, so that was a not trivial difference. I really hope that doesn't end up breaking too much, or anything, ideally. But we will give it a test once that compiles. Okay. I have to say I'm a little disappointed that my common scripts take so long to compile, considering their assembly definition. So they shouldn't really take that long. All right. We're going to play and Shazam! Okay, that didn't work. Okay. Parse. No errors. Thing. Wait, is that just like stupidly spaced? It's just stupidly spaced. Okay. Maybe false alarm? That's okay, that's kind of weird, but not crazy, I guess. Um, so for some reason we have a huge like indent here. I don't really know what that's all about. Um, let's see here. Horizontal tab char, blah, blah, blah. Oh, right. I forgot this part. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we're going to want to have a string builder output is equal to new string builder. Ta-da! Go ahead and get rid of you. And pretty much all of this. We're just going to return output.toString. Alright, so we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than values.count, I plus plus, not parabox. Alright, we're going to say output.append, values of I.toString. Okay, and we will, we'll have to do this. If I is less than values.count minus 1, we'll say output.append. What do I want to say? Oh, right, this. Ta-da! Probably actually compress that down to one row. Hooray! So that should be the new process. We'll go ahead and let that compile. Once we test this time, I'm going to go ahead and actually change our output code a little bit. So what it's going to do is it's going to parse the JSON blob on the left to a JSON blob, format that again, or get its formatted string, then parse it again, and then put that in the output. Basically, so I can make sure that I'm not getting a weird difference between the two. So let's go ahead and we'll run this, make sure that it looks right, which I'm pretty confident of. I know my spacing is a little weird, at least for the end or start and end characters. Yeah, so you can see that like it just kind of just shoots off for some reason. I don't really know why, but it does, and that doesn't really hurt anything, so I'm not really too concerned. But yeah, it's like this. I don't really know why this has so much white space in front of it. Whatever. Go ahead and let's see. Let's stop playing. That's not the end of the world, and we still have no errors, so I think we're just going to let that go as is. Let's go ahead and get rid of the code that we don't need anymore. So it feels good cleaning up some garbage. Go ahead and let that compile. Go open up JSON object. And I'm also going to go ahead and do what I said here. So we're going to say debug.log JSON.toFormatted string. Okay. Then we're going to say, this is going to be a little weird. We're going to say JSON is equal to JSON parser.parse JSON.toFormatted string. And then we're going to debug.log JSON.toFormatted string again. So those two debugs should be identical, basically. That's the point of converting it from a string to a JSON object, then reparsing that JSON object string output, then putting that into the output area. Basically make sure that my system is functioning as we would want it to. Okay, while that's parsing, let's go ahead and go take a look at JSON object. So this is going to be a really annoying change. Really hope I'm not. Oh, and I am. Oh, but it's in JSON object. Okay. So the way that JSON objects currently work are, well, I mean, it's kind of fine. We have a dictionary of string and JSON values, and we're going to leave that, I guess. No, we're not. I lied. So I'm going to convert this, instead of a single dictionary of string and JSON values, I'm going to convert it into two separate lists, one of strings and one of JSON values. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because of this. I have getters to get the values and the names, and every time those getters are requested, I'm generating a brand new list, when it would in fact be much cheaper for us to just grab an existing list and pass that along. That's the preferable option to that. So we're going to convert the system to be using instead of a single dictionary, two lists, one of strings and one of JSON values. So let's go ahead. Oh, and before I forget, we're going to say using system.text. Okay. Then we're going to say private list string. I call that names. Equal to new list string. Okay. Then we're going to have a private list JSON value. Values is equal to new list JSON value. Okay. For this, all we're going to do is just return names. Very, very nice and simple. Same thing for this. It's not called temp, it's going to be called values. Go ahead and make that one line. Okay, reducing the lines of code. That's pretty good. Although that's probably about the same. In any case, let's see. Name value pairs.count. We're going to change that to just names.count. JSON object. Right. So all that's going to require a little bit of an overhaul. So this is going to say names dot. We'll say names is equal to new list string. Values is equal to new list JSON value. It's all good. Get rid of you because we're not going to need you. Okay. So yeah, we're not going to have this contains key anymore. Instead, we're going to say if names.contains contains ID. This is where things get a little more annoying. We're going to have to say and values of names.index of ID is JSON string. So a little bit of extra work there. But we're just going to go ahead and move pretty much, just going to copy that, paste that in here. So these are minor optimizations, although the stuff I'm changing right now probably isn't actually an optimization. I don't think it's a degradation? What would be the opposite of an optimization? A de-optimization? It's basically equivalent. The only difference is that we're not using dictionaries anymore. Okay, so get contents list is kind of irrelevant. Am I actually using that anywhere? Not really. Seems kind of odd. Get rid of this. Sloptimization. That's a really good word. I recommend that you start using that because it is indicative and paints a vivid image of what it actually is. So very good. So we're just going to say values. So you can see what I was talking about though with the whole generating a list every time I requested something. So every time I was doing like get at index or get string at index, which I wasn't really doing that often, admittedly, but still, I was generating an entirely new list and then just grabbing a single item from it. It was a terrible way to do things. At least for what I needed it to do. And that's what happens when you let Past Chris code things, because Past Chris is terrible. He just has no idea what he was doing. Okay, so values. Okay, all that stuff's good. Let's see, string ID, all the fun. Oh, right. We're also going to get rid of that. No. Oh, never mind. No, all that stuff's fine. Hold on. Just gonna scroll through here, make sure that everything's looking good. Right. Oh, and actually, you know what? Just so that I can rip that band-aid off. Delete that. And delete that. Okay. See? It's already caused problems. Here we are. So we're going to change that a little bit. And we're going to say for each, this is going to suck, I have to do it, name value pairs. Wow, that's not at all what I was supposed to do there. String ID in name value pairs. Say names.add ID, then values.add name value pairs of ID. Very simple. Get rid of you. Why are you highlighting it for each? Oh, right, I need to say dot keys. Ta-da. Don't let you code things, huh? Well, you'll never get better with that attitude. Gotta just jump right in and roll your head across the keyboard until things start to make sense. Alright, so we're going to say if names dot contains ID return, right, we're going to do that whole thing again, aren't we? That song and dance. That. Do that. Alright, so that means that I'm pretty much going to say, alright, so return this, and we're going to say, I guess, alright, so we're going to do this, names.add ID, values.add default value. Okay, get rid of this. Oh, right, I need to do new JSON string. I guess that's not going to let me do a raw string, which makes sense. Although in that case, I think I could just do add ID and then default value. There we go. Because that's pretty much going to do what I want. We'll get rid of these two. And you. And then we'll just say, return this. Ta-da! Oh, don't need a second return there. Okay. So that's that's going to be basically the template that we use for all of our subsequent gets. So we'll just copy that over, paste that in, and we're just going to return JSON numbers instead of strings. Grab you, get rid of this. Same thing here. Okay. Same thing here. We're just going to convert you to a JSON bool. JSON bool. And same thing. JSON object. JSON object. Oh, interesting. Oh, the array has some safety features in it. That's right. Dang it, I wanted to be lazy. Fine. So we're going to say, we'll come back to this one. So for this, we're going to say, if names.contains ID, then we will do something else. We're going to add ID and value, simple as that. And otherwise, we're going to say return, not that, well, kind of that, and not as JSON number, just, oh, we're not setting it, duh, is equal to value. We're not returning it, that's what I meant to say, but I can't talk very well. Alright, got all the new stuff, and here we are. If not, names.contains ID, and then we're going to say values.add. Oh, right, we need to, yeah, we can just change that. We'll just say add. Oh, wait, no, this is add. That'd be cyclical. That's not how that works. Okay, so we're going to say names.add ID, and then values.add value. Okay, get rid of that. And remove, again, if names.contains ID. Alright, then we're going to say int index is equal to names.index of ID. Okay, go ahead and get rid of this, and we're going to say names.remove at index, followed by values.remove at index. Cool. And pretty much good there. Format ID. Do I even use it? I guess I do. Seems less necessary, but all right. Oh, actually, no. That's totally necessary. Okay, let's go ahead and before we get to the final formats, let's get the array stuff figured out. So we're going to say if names.contains ID. We're going to do that stuff. Otherwise, we're going to say name. Oh, we'll just say add ID default value. Will you work? You will. Haha. Then we're going to return values at names.index of ID as JSON array. Very, very simple. Then we're going to need this. Does add return something? No, it just adds it. That's fair. Go ahead and grab this. Return that. New array. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. That's all fine. Okay. So new array is going to add this. Okay. So that should handle that. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. Alright, so that's most of our object script cleaned up, and now all we have left is our collection.toFormatted string stuff. Hooray! Alright, so for this, we're going to need to say string builder output is equal to new string builder. Let's go ahead and comment out all of our old code. View, change you to string. There we go. And then we get the fun stuff. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than names.count, I plus plus. Did I handle that and remove? Good, good, good. Okay. Let's see here. Add pad left, so we need another for loop. So we're going to say for int j is equal to 0, j is less than JSON utility dot current indent ja plus plus. We're just going to say output dot append JSON dot or JSON utility dot horizontal tab char. Yes, that's right. Okay, so there's our initial lead in, and then on top of that, we're going to want to say output dot append format ID, and then names of I. Okay. Then we'll want to say output.append JSON utility dot name value separator, which is the colon. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Put these all without spaces between them. Followed by output.append values of I dot value. Okay, yeah, dot to formatted string. Okay. And then we got to do our if I is less than names.count minus 1. Then we're going to add our comma, so we'll say output.append. And then we're going to say JSON utility.JSON value separator. Oh, and then the new line, which I always forget that one. Okay, so this should work. Let's finish up our collection to string. And then we should have a nice and fancy new JSON object, and all this stuff should no longer generate well, I mean, it'll generate some garbage, of course. Obviously, again, we can't get away from generating garbage, but we should be able to at least mitigate the amount of garbage that we are generating. So we're going to say string builder output is equal to new string builder. And at the end here, we'll say return output dot toString. All right. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than names dot count I plus plus. Let's see here. We're going to say output dot append. Oh, right, the key. So we'll want to say names of I, then output dot append JSON utility dot name value separator. Output dot append values of I dot toString. Okay. And finally, same thing that we did up here. Just gonna go ahead and copy that. Just except we don't actually need the new line here, so we can put this on one line. Okay, we should be good then. Let's go ahead and let that compile and give it a test. So our JSON should be the same when we parse it over here. It should have minor formatting differences, but it should overall have the same content, and all the commas should be in the correct spots and all that. So we'll see what happens. I am 90% confident that it will work perfectly. Oh man. Stretch. Alright, let's give this a test. Fingers crossed. Pretty sure it's going to go perfectly, because when have I ever made a mistake? Ever. Pretty good. Let's see. Commas are in the right spots. We don't have any trailing ones. That's good. Good. Everything looks nice. Scroll all the way down here just to make sure that I'm not going crazy. Wait, hold on. No, that's fine. It's because I haven't actually set any real content up here. Frack. That's... Hold on. Let's see if that's the same over here. Examine. Hopefully it was just me being stupid when I exported this. Read, examine. Oh good, it was just me being stupid when I exported that. Okay. Whew. Dodged a bullet there. Let's see. Trailing comma at the very end. Alright. I think we're good. So that is more or less an optimization of all the JSON stuff. I can probably get a little bit of extra mileage out of like the JSON parser. If I just convert, let's go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff. We'll keep that for now. Oh yeah, I don't want to code that again. So there's a thing I can do here to optimize this particular line. This is a really bad line of code. So what this is doing is this is taking a string, trimming off white space, then trimming off open and close tags, which for objects are braces, then trimming that of white space again. So that's 3 separate strings that are being created for this one line. To be fair, if there are no white space values around the original trim or around the original string, then this first trim won't actually do anything. But that's still 2 strings being generated on one line. And I have a function that I've written at work to that pretty much does the same thing, except it does it with 1 extra string change, so it doesn't actually make it a bunch of extra strings every time, and that cuts down garbage immensely. But we're not going to worry about that because that particular function is kind of weird, and I don't want to try to remember how I coded that, because it involves a lot of not a lot. It involves substrings and counting indexes, which I don't really like doing. But I am going to change. Let's see. Collection. Oh, that's the end collection, right. So I'm going to go ahead and allocate an initial value here for parsed string, which is going to be JSON string dot length. So all I'm doing there is ensuring capacity so that it won't have to resize this string builder as I build this JSON object. I just granted a block allocation up front, and then it's just done. Don't have to worry about it. Okay, so do I really want to do that? I can't really optimize much down here, so that might be the only optimization I really make. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do, really. Oh, actually, I lied. Current string here is not going to be a new string builder. It's going to just have its length set to be 0 instead of a new string builder. Same thing here. Basically, just going to replace those calls. Because whenever I declare a new string builder, that generates garbage, but setting the length to 0 does not. Go ahead and do that. So if you are working with string builders and you want to use the string builder for multiple things, make sure that you use string builder.length is equal to 0 instead of string builder is equal to new string builder. It's a little weird that they don't have like a clear function, but I guess that would really just do this anyway. It would just be setting the length to 0. All right, so that should be good. Okay, go ahead and save that. We'll do one last test, and then we will move on to physics optimizations. Yeah, you want to reuse that string builder. Everyone's static for most stuff in mono behaviors. Oh, that's smart. I didn't think about doing like a static string builder. All right. So we're going to let that play. And then solve world hunger. Not really. Any errors? No errors. All this stuff looks the exact same. Hooray! That's good. And everything seems fine. Cool. Go ahead and stop playing. I'm actually really curious to know if we got some garbage there. Oh, it's the mouse crap. Ugh. This on mouse thing has been really annoying for me to get rid of at work. Because I think it's a TextMesh Pro thing and I can't really get rid of it. But 0.6 kilobytes of garbage per frame. It's annoying. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Wow, really, man, TextMesh Pro really has a garbage problem. Jeez, 50 megabytes of garbage from just this scene. There's not much here. How can it be so bad? All right, let's go ahead and go back to our planes level. Planes. Oh, and I guess I can go ahead and remove that. Delete our JSON part. Oh, not the parser. Whoa. JSON test. That would have been very sad. I mean, all I would have had to have done was revert, but it would have sucked, was my point. Let that compile. And let me make sure that I'm also not using or setting string builders to be equal to a new string builder earlier on. I have an issue, or I have a GC issue with a UI layout component. Yeah, some of the UI components are actually really terrible. I mean, they don't seem to last very long. They do seem to be just like one frame for the most part, but oof, it is really painful. Okay, so we're going to... I don't think we really actually set string builder in here. All right, so let's go ahead, go back to Unity. We're going to go back to our scene. Let me collapse this stuff. Data extensions. No, we should be fine there. Oh, right. I need to... Where was I doing that? Yeah, it's fine for now. I don't think we really need it. Okay. Where are you, planes? Here we are. So we're just going to play in scene real quick, take some notes of the profiler, see where we are, and then we'll jump over to the menu controls because that's where the next particular area of interest for me is. Turn off maximize on play so we can see the profiler. Heading out. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Bo. Have a good night. All right. So we got this stuff coming in. We got a bit of a spike here at the beginning. Fortunately, not a lot of garbage being generated. That always makes me happy. Menu controls is generating about 100 bytes, which I think I can get that down to 0. Then we'll jump over to FPS controller as we jump. Huh. We are suddenly generating way less. We're now generating, instead of about 6 kilobytes of garbage per frame, about 0.5 kilobytes. So that's pretty good. Player opens their inventory and all the icons get added to containers. It looks like it recomputes the positions for everything every time an icon is added. Blech. Yeah, the UI really can get messy there because anytime anything on the UI or on a canvas needs to be rebuilt, everything on the canvas gets rebuilt. It's really annoying that that's the case, and I get around that by not really having a ton of UI open at any given time. And the UI that I do have, or whenever I do have UI that exists but isn't open, it's disabled. Therefore, it's not included in the rebuild process. But it's really easy to have like a runaway UI performance problem if you're not careful. Okay, so let's just kind of scrub for a little bit. Oh man, generating so little garbage. Okay, so let's see. FPS input update. Game settings.getBool. That's where the problem is coming in, and it is coming from. It's coming from JSON value collection. Really? All right. Let's see what FPS input is doing. FPS input. I'm guessing that that's getting our keys, or at least it's trying to. Yeah, it's like right there. Ew. Oh. Well, I can smooth that out. So right now we're generating about 320 bytes of garbage. I think we can change that just by doing this. Oh, wait, no. Ah, crap. No, 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 no. Crap baskets. Go to definition here. Oh my god. Get type. Wow. This is not exactly convenient. Can I just get rid of you then? It's a safety check. That could have been that could actually be the problem. Hold on. So we also have game toggle crouch. I'm gonna. Well, hold on. So where is it? It's coming from getBool, and then something here. I don't like how it truncates like this. Makes it kind of hard to tell what's going on. GetBool is definitely part of the problem. We don't get any lower than that. So I think we can just test this then. So let's go ahead and give this a test. I kind of think that one little edit might have actually done everything that we needed. Let's see. No, well, I mean, the thing I had highlighted isn't there anymore, which means that it's no longer the main issue. We're still having problems, though, with JSON object in particular. let's see, where's that coming from? It's still JSON value collection. Okay. It could be just because all that stuff was getting parsed? No, that should only happen once, which means that it's happening multiple times, which is unfortunate. Let's see, get object. What the frig? Type is not going to be equal to, well, hold on, let's see. Settings type.game. God, this is so inefficient. I mean, is this even how I do this anymore? Hold on. Options, view. I want to confirm that. I think we want game options view, actually. Yeah. Yeah, there. We can just do that. That's so much easier. Okay. Way easier. Let's go back here. FPS input. So we're just going to change this to, if not game settings dot toggle run. Ta-da! That's so much better. That's just a literal get and set. Else if options not sprint, that's all good. Do the same thing here. We're going to say if not game settings dot toggle crouch. Okay. Else. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let that compile. Oh dear. I love it when I double click like that by accident. Causes. I swear if you do that, if you hit play before Unity finishes compiling, it just takes longer out of spite. It's like, oh, in a hurry, are we? Well, guess what? Not anymore, you're not. I feel like I stole that joke. I don't remember from where. Seems like a cop movie. Or at least a movie with cops in it. I want to say Liar Liar. Anyway. Getting smaller. Oh, look at that. FPS input. 0 bytes of garbage. Alright. So down from, I think, 6 kilobytes to 0. Nice. So our garbage generation in this scene has basically gone down to, like, what, 1% of what it was before? But we can do better. FPS controller update. Update function. Character controller. Move. Interesting. Maybe we can't do that one. But we can totally do menu controls, I'm sure. UI.get. It has definitely got to be our find stuff. It's got to be that. So we're done here. Oh, and I guess, actually, before we do anything else, I am going to real quick just kind of run around and make sure that my controls feel right with those settings. And any day now. There we go. So I should have, yep, toggle sprint off by default. Toggle crouch on by default. Cool. Let's go ahead and change those real quick. Game. Okay. Okay, so toggle run works. Oops. Yep. Toggle crouch, or, well, not toggle crouch. Does work. Cool. Go ahead and switch that back because I don't know about you, but I personally hate having toggle run and I hate not having toggle crouch. Cool. Make sure that works. Good. 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 Alright. So that works. That's exciting for me. Let's go ahead and get rid of this line of code because we don't need it anymore. Don't need you anymore. And I don't think we need you anymore. Yeah, we don't need you anymore. Don't really need you anymore either. Okay. So let's go ahead and let that compile. See what our profiler was doing in that time while we were running around. Get an idea of what we need to do next. Are you serious? Ugh, whatever. It was probably just the pause menu. Oh my goodness, is that what I think it? 120? Wow. Okay, that's not okay. 120 kilobytes of garbage in one frame. Jeez. Yeah, we can definitely do better than that. I should have done a better job of noting what my frame rates were at before. I think we were at 60, and we seem to regularly spike to that, but I think we can get this up to like 100 frames. Ooh, wouldn't that be nice? Let's see. Play step sounds. Check ground. Oh, this is probably physics. And speaking of physics, because I got distracted from the wrong thing, we're going to go over to, not you, not you, not you, and not you, or you. We're going to go to menu controls. All right. So the way menu controls work is, well, it's really awkward to say it like that, but it's technically a menu controls is the name of the thing. Anyway, the way this works is it waits for you to press a specific button, and then if you do so, it's going to send out a raycast and then open a specific menu normally. So you can see here on interact, we create a raycast hit, we create a ray. Oh, and look at that, I'm stupid. I also don't cache that camera. So little lightning round of optimization tips. Don't do this. Never ever just reference camera.main and then have it do something. If you're going to reference camera.main multiple times, make sure that you cache it, because every time you call camera.main, it does a find object with tag through the entire scene for the camera that is tagged main camera. So you should be able to run it like a billion frames, unless that's a potato. Cache all the things. Yeah, I really should. My end goal for this is, again, to be able to run TextQuest at 1080p on my laptop, 60 frames. That's my goal. I don't know if I'll actually be able to get to 60 frames 1080p, but I'll be satisfied with 30 frames 1080p. But I really want to get 60 frames, if possible, on my laptop. And if not, at the very least, 30 frames 1080p or 60 frames 720p. That's acceptable to me. It's not, again, preferable, but it's acceptable. Okay, so a couple of things. Yes, we are going to private camera, main camera. We're going to come down here and say, hold on, mess that up. Private camera, jeez. Main camera. Say get, return, main camera, question, it's not equal null, question mark, main camera, else main camera is equal to camera.main. Very, very simple. Yeah. I personally prefer toaster. I feel like that's just got a better ring to it. Plus, it makes toast. What can a potato do? A potato just potatoes. Although I guess if you let it sit long enough, it could become vodka, maybe. So we're going to change this. Ta-da. So now we have a cached camera, so that's better automatically. Next, we are going to convert our physics raycast here from using physics.raycast to using something called physics.raycast non-alloc. Now, normally I would have a little bit more of a convoluted setup for this, but I don't actually need that for this. So we're just going to say, well, actually before we do that, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to say private raycast hit array. I call these non-alloc hits. That's just my naming convention for these. Is equal to a new, I can't, there, new raycast hit. Wow. There we go. I wonder if a limit, I think from a potato battery thing. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I've heard potato be used as well. Potato and toaster are basically interchangeable as far as I know. Lemon, I think, has a different connotation. Lemon is something that typically breaks on you. Potatoes and toasters don't really break. They're not good, but they tend to not break. In fact, they tend to be pretty hardy. Anyway, so I have an array here of raycast hits, and it's going to start out with 0, but on start, I'm going to call, that's wrong, right here. I'm going to say private void start. Okay, so in start, I'm just going to go ahead and say non-alloc hits is equal to new raycast hit of 1. So I just need to initialize it with 1 space for it, because this raycasting that I'm doing here will only ever look at the first raycast that I hit, or the first hit that I ever run into with my raycast. So I don't need more than 1 hit. You could, in theory, allocate however many raycast hit elements you want, how many spaces you want, and you can do a raycast that actually returns multiple values. But because I only need the first one, I'm only going to give it 1 element. So I'm going to say raycast non-alloc. And that's going to change slightly. So instead of out hit here, I'm just going to say non-alloc hits. And then it's not going to return a bool. It's going to return an integer value, which is the amount of hits that it gets. I'm going to say if that's greater than 0. So if it hits anything, then we're going to do something. And that means that we need to get rid of hit here because we're not going to use it anymore. And instead, we're going to say non-alloc hits of 0. Wow, I cannot type. Of 0. So all the same information, just now in an array. Everything looks pretty good here, although we are going to run into some problems here. I can probably actually optimize this code a little bit more. So for now, I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to leave this as is, like this. We'll let that compile, and then we'll run it and see what our playable behavior is getting. So let's see. FPS sound controller. Where? Oh, I guess I probably don't have a good reference for it. I might be able to scrub back far enough to see it. But before we were generating about, 100 bytes of garbage, which is consistent with the raycast hit. But now we should generate 0 bytes of garbage in the menu controls per frame. Okay, so I'm going to scrub back here. Let's see, script run behavior update. So yeah, we were generating about 100 bytes. Let's go ahead and just see what this looks like now. Crap, I maximized on play again. Not that it matters. I can just stop playing after a couple of seconds. But that value should now be 0 for the most part. There is actually something that we're going to have to do to optimize that a little bit more. Okay. So let's go ahead and scrub here. And it's not highlighted anymore. So update, run behavior updates. It's still generating 1. Oh, right. I forgot to optimize the UI stuff. Oh, right. Yeah, the dang it. The optimizations we made won't even actually be visible because we preempted the optimization, whatever. Let's go ahead and go back here to UI. So I need to... I have to go to this get function, go to definition. So we're going to change, there it is. Actually, there it is, the first are default and find all. Both of those are pretty terrible. Geez, that's really unfortunate. Yep. Well, that's no good. Can't really have functions like that get called every frame. Okay. That means I need to cache that stuff. So, yes, I am going to cache all of the things, actually. But, primarily, I'm going to get rid of first or default here. Oh, geez, this is a really nasty line of code. Dang it, I got too over-reliant on this stuff. The thing about Link is that it's incredibly addictive because it lets you create one-line nice code like this. The problem is that the trade-off is you're generating tons of garbage comparatively. And by tons, I mean some garbage as opposed to no garbage. Ugh. Well, that's really sad. So let's go back here to menu controls. Problem is this. Get fade view. So I need to cache that. Right Yes. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and come down here. We're gonna say private fade view. Fade. Let's say cached fade view. Cached fade view. We're gonna go down to here, and we're gonna say private cached. Wrong thing. Fade view. Cached fade view. Get return cached fade view. Does not equal null. Question mark. Cached fade view. Else cached fade view is equal to UI.get fade view. Okay. And now we can change this. Instead of UI.get fade view that is fading, we're going to say cached fade view that is fading. Okay. That should work a little bit better. Let's go ahead and let that compile, and then we'll give it a try. So that should convert our menu controls.update function to be generating 0 bytes of garbage per frame, I believe. And then we'll be able to mess with some of the other stuff. Actually, once that gets to 0 bytes of garbage, the next thing we're going to do is our fancy physics layer editor stuff. Because I have hard-coded magic numbers in here, right here, which is terrible. I hate magic numbers. I coded this when I was a fool. So we're going to expose that into the inspector, and we're going to make it a super fancy dropdown that I hope I can do. I'm pretty sure that I can. Pretty sure that I can. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and clear this. Let's go ahead and clear you. Turn off maximize on play. Let's give it a shot. Yeah. Magic numbers are really good for quick code, but for long-term readability, they're really bad. They make no sense. They're magic numbers after all. Let's go ahead and jump around. Okay. So how bad is it? Boom! Like nothing. Let's see. Can I even find it? Update. I might legitimately be generating like no garbage. Yeah, right there. Let's see. Where are you? Menu controls update. 0 bytes. No garbage anymore. So all of the garbage I think is now coming from sources I can't really control very well. Looks like we got some GUI layout stuff, which is... Oh, I bet I know what that is. Yep, there's the GUI layout groups. This is probably similar to what you were running into, Garrett. We get GUI layout groups doing stuff that I don't really need them to do, but they're doing it anyway. All right, so cool. That whole thing is functional. We got rid of about 20 kilobytes of garbage per frame ish. Probably closer to like 15. Let's see what that does. Ooh, massive spike. And wow, really? Coming from you, huh? What? Oh, I have an error. What? Get name. Timeout. Okay. Let's go ahead and stop that real quick. I think my sign there is messed up. Take a look at this. Does it not have any names? Oh, it does not have any names. Well, that would be why. Wooden sign. Let's go ahead and just create a couple of things here. Okay, no burn info. Why do I keep trying to spell sign with an H? That's not how it works. Okay, let's go ahead and save and try running that again. That massive spike could have partially resulted from the error. So, pretty happy actually overall with how little garbage I've been generating. I actually thought when I came in today that it would be a lot worse. Oh, crap. Ah, crap. Hold on. I need to have the profiler open for me to reliably see this stuff. Wow. Not not really a ton going on there. Let's scrub if we can see anything really useful. Some on mouse things, but again, I don't think I can really do much there. Let's see here. Where else do we think we can post late update? It's UI stuff, can't really fix that. Dang, like nothing. Okay. Oh wait, nope. Here we are. Oh right, the sound controller. Well, let's target this next. And then I swear, if I don't jump over to the physics fancy drawer stuff, just yell at me in chat, and I will do so. Okay, so play step sounds. Check round. Oh wow. Oh wow. Ugh. That's not great. I bet I know why though. Okay, I know what to do there. Okay. Environment level. Plains ground. So, dollars to donuts. Just to be sure. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up Polybrush Ground. I'm willing to bet that I am not caching the mesh vertices. I am not. That is why we're getting a ton of garbage there. So every time you reference a mesh, specifically every time you reference its vertices and colors, those are not cached arrays. They get rebuilt every time you request them. So I need to make sure that I I cache these values. Also, really, that's just sloppy, Chris. Just have a transform reference there. Okay. Huh. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and say private vector 3 array verts. Oh, I'll say cached verts. Cached verts is equal to new vector 3 0. Then we'll have private color array cached colors is equal to new color array. Okay, pretty simple. We're gonna come down here, do private void start. We're gonna say, let's go ahead and grab pretty much this stuff. Okay, so we're gonna say cached verts is equal to that, followed by cached colors is equal to that. Cool. Get rid of you. Cached verts. Grab that. Cached colors of index. Cool. I think we are good. Oh, wait. Right. I need to cache that transform. Let's go ahead and come up here. We're going to say private transform cached transform. Private transform cached transform. Get return cached transform. Oh, not that. Cached transform. Does not equal null. Question mark. Cached transform. Else cached transform is equal to transform. Okay. So now we can just paste you in there, and we should be good. So now we should, assuming that inverse lerp here isn't actually that bad, although it might be. It's probably going to be returning a new color all the time, which is not great. Oh no, it's a float. Okay, never mind. That's not bad at all. Although we are generating black here. But it's a constant, I'm pretty sure, so we'll let that go. Alright, let's go ahead and let that compile. So now, not entirely sure why we were getting that issue only once in one frame. That's kind of weird. Well, whatever. So now whenever we get that, it should not be 120 kilobytes of garbage per frame. That's pretty bad. Was that really happening per frame, or is it just like once every so often? Oh, that makes sense. I lied. It wouldn't happen every frame. It would just happen whenever I need to play a sound. So it's whenever I walk around. That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, you can see it goes away until it comes back with a vengeance. All right, let's go ahead and let's clear these. Give it a play. Walk around for a bit, and we should see that we are not generating 120 kilobytes of garbage every time I walk, or every time I play a sound while walking. Or I'll be very sad, if that's the case. Oof, we do have a bit of a spike, though. Really bad. But no garbage is being generated there. It's just really time-consuming. But I guess that's kind of understandable. So we'll let that one slip by. FPS controller is still getting some garbage, huh? Update function. I probably need to take a look at that later. But it's only 80 bytes, so it's not that bad. All right, so we're going to scrub until I see 2 MGUI. Where are you? Oh, I guess it's not going to be generating that anymore. Right. Okay, so we want that to be fixed update. Let's see. I think it's this. Let's go ahead and clear this out. Yep. And boom, 0 bytes. So from 120 down to 0. Cool. So that's way better. I do think that our periodic spikes are getting more tolerable. Yeah, that on-mouse stuff. That's 2 kilobytes. I wish I could fix that. But you can see that we're kind of trending towards 100 frames now on average. Although actually, I guess that's kind of irrelevant because I think we get clamped back to 60 anyway. So this is really just a situation of us trying to get these numbers lower, even though typically they're going to be locked to 60 frames anyway. Okay, well that's a good place. So we're going to go ahead and collapse all this stuff. Going to hit save, and then we're going to do some fancy editor scripting. So let's go ahead, close off our polybrush stuff. We'll keep some. That's fine. Close menu control. Oh wait, no, we want to work with menu controls. Get rid of game settings and game options view. All right, so we have a magic number in here, but we don't want it to be a magic number, or we would prefer that it's not. So we're going to want to have a public int. Let's see, what do we want to call this? Well, I guess we would call this. Okay, well, no. Target layer or interactable layer. Yeah, that's good. Interaction layer. Say is equal to 0 by default. Now there are actually some things that I can do here. So for example, actually I'm going to go ahead and change this real quick. So private serialize field. So to show you one thing that I could do, we'll go ahead and serialize another field. We'll call this private layer mask, and we'll say test layer is equal to -1. Okay, so if I let this compile and we go over to our hero to take a look at our menu controls. So right now there's nothing on those menu controls, but once this compiles, I should now have 2 fields, one of which is a drop-down that has all of our physics layers in it. Now, it's not, I don't know why Unity did this, but you can't just convert from a layer mask to a clean int very easily, because layer masks are bit masks. So I can say nothing, or I can specify just GI reflection specifically, or I can say default layer only, or I can add default and transparent. So I could do all of these layers, but these numbers or these layer names that you see here are associated with integer values that are supposed to be between 0 and 32, I believe, or 0 and 31. And you can see these if we go over to project settings, tags and layers. So we have a value, values between 0 and 31. So there's 32 different int values that it can be, but they're not actually int 0. Like so for example, default layer is not actually interpreted as 0 if you use a layer mask. It's really annoying, and I was going to say I don't know why they did that, but I do know why they did that. It's because of bit masking. So that means that when you want to actually check if a game object's layer, which is an int value between 0 and 31, 0 and 32, not exclusive, then you have to actually get the name from the layer value, then convert that name into an integer by using layer mask dot name to layer, I believe. So to give you a quick thing, so we're going to say test layer. Yep. So we're going to say so we can say test layer dot value, but that's actually an int value representing the entirety. Oh, right, hold on. We'll debug this. Debug dot seriously. Debug dot log test layer dot value. We'll also go ahead and debug.log test layer. And this dot value is just an integer representation of the mask. In fact, it seems like you can just do both of these, honestly, and we should have the same result here. And I'm going to assign default, which we know to be 0, to our player, which I guess means I should go to the prefab, actually. Prefabs, player, hero. Okay, so I'm going to change this from everything to default for now. And when I output that value to the debug console, you'll see that it's not going to be 0. Actually, I kind of wonder if default will be 0. I'm gonna not do default. I'm going to do transparent effects, which should be 2, I believe. Let's go ahead and go to project settings. So transparent FX should be actually 1. And to output this, I'm just going to have to play and hit E, and it should fire. Stretch. All right, let's hit E. Did we get a debug out? We did not get a debug out. Why did I not get a debug out? Okay, fine. How about enter? There we go. It did come out as 2. So actually, yeah, default would have come out as 0. But you can see that layer mask comes out as a layer mask. It can be converted to an int natively, though, I believe. So you could actually compare layer masks to ints using the double equals sign, and it's fine. But if we change this value, let's go ahead and jump over here to hero. I'm going to make this, instead of transparent FX, I'm going to make it ignore raycast, and it's going to be just that for now to prove my point. So that's 4. So basically what it's doing is it's going up in increments of, well, exponential increments of 2. So it'll be 2, 4, 8, 16, so on and so on. That's why we actually have a limit of 32. It's because it's a bitwise operation thing. But that's not actually useful for us, because if we wanted to actually target the transparent effects layer, we would have to say 1 instead of 2. If we wanted to target the raycast or ignore raycast layer, then we would need 2 instead of 4. So we have to do some weird conversions to get those to be what we want, and those conversions are debug.log, and I believe this is correct. I really hope I didn't make this an extension. It's going to be layer mask dot layer to name. So we're going to give it a layer, which is going to be our test layer dot value. So that will give us the name of the layer that we're targeting. And then to further get that, we're going to need to say layer to, hold on, name to layer, then parse in layer mask dot layer to name that. Okay. So we're going to save that out, and you're going to see all of those. You're going to see all 4 of those outputs, and they are going to be, if I'm correct in my remembering, it should be Unity Engine.LayerMask, then the target, which will be 2, then the name of the target, which will be transparent FX, and then the actual int value for the object layer association, which should be 1. You have to do all of that. Well, you don't have to do all of that. You just have to do the last part to get the actual game object layer. I don't know why they made it so complex, but they did. And that makes it really tough. So we're going to make a fancy dropdown that will just skip all of that and associate an integer ID and make it really easy for us to use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Ooh, it casted it to 2. That's not great. Let's go ahead and stop playing real quick, actually. I'm going to go ahead and have it target, makes sense, the layer that we actually want, which is going to be interactive. I'll show you what those look like. Maybe I did this wrong. No, I didn't. I just realized this is entirely pointless. And I will explain why in a second. But I still want that layer thing. So we're going to let that go. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Because default would be 0. So this should actually give us more accurate results. Let's go ahead and play again. I always get concerned when it says some objects are not cleaned up, but it doesn't look like anything actually was in the environment, so I don't really know what it's doing there. In any case, hit enter here. Stop. Come over here. Well, well, well. We got layer index out of bounds. That's really weird. Why? Let's come over here real quick, make sure I'm not doing something really strange. Interactive, and nope, that's pretty much what I would expect. So you can see here we got what we were expecting. 512, that's the layer. But really, why was that at 512? That seems whatever. But we did get 15 back. That's what I was expecting. Let's stop and then play again. I'm actually kind of curious to see if that happens again or if that was like a one-off fluke. Yeah, I don't. This is really bad because this error here is coming from Unity's own stuff. That's really bad. Like that's not even. None of this is my code. That's just straight up Unity's. Ugh. Oh wait, no. That's because this. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Then why? What? All right, whatever. Let's try this again. Is it not retrieving the layer properly then? That'd be weird. That is the code that I have there is the process I've used in the past to handle this stuff, and it seems like it's not working currently. Well, no, what's weird is that it did work. It just didn't give us the correct values. Weird. Huh. So we got nothing from that. And we got 15, which is... I don't know if that's correct or not. That's not correct. So we should be getting back 9. But it's not. Which is disturbing. How wonderful. Let me try that. Just to be curious. And if that's the case, actually, then all I need to do is just use not.value. And in that case, I don't really need to do anything. I don't need a fancy editor, which is fine. I was really excited to do that, but there's no sense in reinventing it if it's already actually used there. And to be fair, there is some oddity between .value and not.value, just calling the base layer mask. So this might actually give us what we want. It could be that the implicit casting being done there is already doing what I was going to manually do. Alright, so we should see Okay. Deeply troubling. I can't really fix that if Unity's being weird about it. Okay. Well, that really complicates things. Huh. Okay. Layer mask dot. Do I want? No. See, it's weird because layer to name should actually give us the values that we expect. Um, but it doesn't seem to. I wonder if this is a bug in Unity's current build. That can't be right though. That'd be too weird. Um, Honestly, it's kind of irrelevant though because um, no. Oh, well, no. Yeah, it's totally irrelevant. Um, so I don't know why I coded it like this. Probably because Pasquez was an idiot. But the way I'm handling this right now, I have a raycast that goes out, and I grab whatever I hit, and then I check to make sure that it's in the correct layer. But honestly, I can actually just roll this layer into this raycast so that it won't return anything if that layer is not hit. That gets rid of an entire if statement and then an entire else statement. So I can just do this, comma, and then do, well, I need to specify a test layer, but we'll go ahead and say layer mask, interaction layer is equal to, I believe it's 9, although I don't think that that will actually work. We'll see. In any case, so we're going to change this to interaction layer. We're going to leave it like that. We're going to let that compile. And then I will show you what it looks like. That is kind of weird, though. But yeah, so I do know that, well, no, maybe it's... No, my asset couldn't be fucked up. Let's see. I'm actually kind of curious about this now. Because Unity's own scripts are returning invalid values. It could be that it's expecting that, which... Do I have an extension class that I made for that then? It's entirely possible. Right. So let's go ahead and see if... Yep. So you can see that it highlights like that, which is what lets us know that it's actually interacting with the object in that layer. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. We are going to, for now, just comment this part out. Let's go ahead and just do this. Okay. So this code should behave exactly like before, just without the unnecessary if check there, because now we're just rolling that check into the physics.raycast function. Kind of annoying, though, that this stupid layer index out of bounds error is happening. I'm just gonna, out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 9. Magic numbers, I know. Just to see if it requires that. And if it does, then poo on Unity. We'll figure out how to properly cast that. Although that's still kind of irrelevant now. Well, whatever. Although, actually, hold on. Really? Something must be doing that in the... Oh, I bet it's in the HUD view. Before I forget, I want to actually take that up. So HUD view. So HUD view should have the actual script that handles the reticle switching, and it, I believe, is going to be using physics, and I believe it's going to be using raycast. It is not. That's weird. Interesting. What did I do then? Let's see. Reticle. Final references. Reticle.color. Shadow reticle does sprite. That's with interaction. Okay. But yeah, you can see that it's doing the same thing. Let's go ahead and drag that over. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and try playing again, and then we're going to try interacting with our lantern again, and we will see what happens there. Oh! I lied, actually. We do need that if check there. And we need it there so that we can't do this. Oh, come on. Are you serious? Really? It was breaking? I must have been hitting something. Okay. Drop lamp. That's too far away. Or no, it's being blocked. Why were you... Huh. It really doesn't like that. So I'm trying to interact with the ground, and it breaks. How? Why? Let's see here. What the... What? Timeout, timeout, timeout. So it is hitting that value? No, I don't believe you. I think it's getting the wrong value, and therefore it's not masking its inputs. Let's go ahead and stop playing. Because that is seriously dumb. But it's weird. It shouldn't... Jeez, Unity, what are you doing? So it seems like masking isn't actually doing anything here. Not value, but why? That's so weird. I shouldn't have to do dot value either. I don't think it works if I do that. Or it's one of the two ways. It works one way and then it doesn't the other. We'll let that compile, see if I still get errors when I try to look at the ground and interact with it. It's very strange though. Real quick, let's come down here. Pause, open inventory, open help, open input menu. We're gonna open. Okay, but I think it's the interaction part that's happening here. Interesting. So interaction layer you can see is doing what we would expect here. Huh. It's kind of odd. Well, I am curious. Yep, does not like that, huh? If we take a look at this. Interaction. Interaction layers got set to default? No, that is not right. Let me debug this. Let's see here. I'm also going to pause this. Oh, it's debug layers is not helpful. I don't think that it's right, actually. I think I've been kind of skirting by the fact that I assigned it a value, but it's not actually doing what it should do. Huh. That's not good. So interesting. So It's returning the wrong stuff here, which is really weird. I'm going to rename this. I just want to test something. I'm going to call this interactions layer. We're going to let that go. So it's been set to be 9. So we're not going to change anything on the inspector, and we're just going to play. I really hope I'm wrong, but if I'm right, I shouldn't get any more null interactions. I really hope that I'm wrong. If I'm not, that's not going to be fun, and it means that we will actually need a fancy drop-down. But we shouldn't. We shouldn't need that. That's the entire point of the layer mask stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and let that play. It's so weird, though, because what should happen with the masking is when the raycast goes out, it should say, am I ignoring, or what are my layers that I'm supposed to hit? Okay, I guess I can't really do that then. So we're going to comment these. I'm going to need to look into that because this really should prevent that from happening, but it doesn't seem to be. It's really weird. All right. Well, I really don't want to create a drop-down until I can figure out why Unity's physics or why Unity's layer system isn't working like I expected it should. Well, it too. I mean, I've worked with this stuff in the past. Do I really not have? I don't. That's so weird. Let's look for test layer. Is there names? No, there's not. There's nothing here. Huh. Well, great. That probably means I need to like write my own bitmask thing that will try to pull its own int values out of it. Hooray! Oh, but did we confirm that it was actually giving us the correct values there? It is. Okay. Yep. So that this is incredibly annoying. So you can get a layer from a number and from a name, but you can't get a name or a layer from the actual layer mask values. Because reasons. Why? Why do they do this? Whatever. So, alright. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of research on that to make sure that it's not doing something really weird or that I just wasn't doing something very stupid. Although, actually, real quick, I do want to do a little bit of caching, just so that I don't forget to. You can't work backwards? What do you mean? Go up here. We're going to go ahead and say main camera. Come back to here. Let's go ahead and cache our main camera. Cache tab. Ta-da. I'm going to put this here. Okay, so that fixes that little particular issue. And is that all we're really going to need? Yes. No. Maybe so. No. It's got to be there somewhere so you can look up the name. They must store it. I mean, we can probably dig into it. Let's see. Let's go to definition here, see if we can get anything useful out of here. Yeah, see, this like get mask approach I can understand. But yeah, that's really annoying. It's probably... Well, I'm actually kind of curious. So let's say Unity get layer names. So, yeah, there's a... I can't really even do that. What the heck? Let's see. Returns the layer index. You lie! Oh, wait, no, this is correct. Yeah, that takes a string. That's correct. Yeah. So this is what we're running into right now because layer mask is it's a bit mask, so it's using 2, 4, 8, and so on, which is obviously not 0 to 31. Um, so yeah, I guess we could just bit shift it. Um, the main problem there, well, no, I guess we can get the name from it. Fine. Then we'll go ahead and, well, no, hold on. No, I need an automated way of doing this. I don't want to manually bit shift this stuff. Um, ugh. Yeah. Yeah. Not great. Oh, look at this. I think this is actually pretty much what I was going to do. Let's see. So return layer value. Yes, for the most part. Oh, interesting. There's a layer field that returns an int value. Okay. Well, that does pretty much what I would want. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I want. All right. So let's go ahead and create that real quick. And also pay attention to the cat because she wants attention. And she's spoiled. All right. So let's go ahead and come over here. Go up to our sleepy owl common attributes. Yes, cat, I see you. You do not need to be right on my keyboard. You don't need that. All right. We're going to go ahead and create a new layer attribute. As soon as Unity compiles, create folder layer. Okay, let's go ahead and say create C# script. We're going to say layer attribute. Okay. While that's compiling, I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to the editor so I can give it its proper field. Create a new folder. Cat, yes, get. Okay, let's see. Cats, man. They know exactly when you don't want them to be on your keyboard. Oh, Unity, you take too long to compile. Yep. It's really weird. I don't know why it's taking so long. Everything's assembly definitioned here, and I don't think this is really that big of an assembly definition. Yeah, it's just heat maps and Text Mesh Pro, so shouldn't really be that bad. Let's go ahead and call this layer. Okay, create C# script. We're going to call this layer attribute drawer. Yes, cat, I see you. Hops right up here. Come on, Unity, I believe you. All right. Approximately 13 seconds. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's not the worst. I have some projects at work that take well, they did take like 60 seconds. We've gotten that down a bit, but and to be fair, it wasn't our code; it was someone else's that we had to clean up. But okay, so this is a property attribute. Property attribute. Not going to really have much in here. It's just going to be literally public layer attribute. That. It's not going to do anything special. Get rid of you. Come up here. All right. So we're going to be using Unity Editor. We'll just say that. We're going to be. I guess this is in our editor folder. This is a property drawer. So we're going to say custom property drawer. Type of layer attribute drawer. Okay, so for this, we're going to say override on GUI. That not really going to do anything special there. I will actually look at their code. Were they getting on enable to work? No, okay, I didn't think so. Let's go ahead, come over here, and we're going to do the same safety check that they did, which is just if property dot attribute type. No, hold on. Property type. There it is. Not equal serialized property type dot int. Then we're going to return after doing editor GUI dot help box. I'll pass in position followed by a message and then a message type that's a warning. We'll say layer field must be of type int. Okay. Else we're just going to do property dot int value is equal to editor GUI dot layer field position. We want a label, so label followed by property dot int value. Pretty simple. So this is our layer attribute class. Well, there's no real need for me to get the name. I guess I'll just do this then. I was going to get one that let me specify or find the name of a field, but that's kind of irrelevant because the name is going to ultimately need to be hashed into a integer anyway, or converted into one. So, let's go ahead and go over to menu controls. We're going to turn this into a regular old int field. We're going to convert this into a layer. Get rid of this. And get rid of this. Doot, doot, doot. I am going to go ahead and convert this to interactions layer. Interactions layer. Convert this as well, so we can make sure that we are correct there. And convert that with a comment of 9, so I don't forget what it was. All right, Scorpio. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully it was somewhat interesting. I know garbage collection isn't generally something we've covered in the past, but hopefully got some good programming tips out of it. Or at the very least, it was somewhat amusing seeing me struggle against all of my terribleness from the past. Either way, have a good night. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just take a look at our hero here. Uh-oh. Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. We did not. This is my layer attribute too, right? Yes, it is. And yet... Interesting. We get nothing. Oh, that's why. I forgot to serialize the field. Or I accidentally removed that. Duh. Not going to show up if you don't serialize it. Alright, let that compile and then we should see it. I also feel like I should count how long it takes for my code to compile. Over 10 seconds. "20 seconds. 20 seconds, jeez. Ugh. What the What? What? Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Why? What the heck? What? Custom property? Oh, that's why. Jeez. I cannot believe I did that. Duh. That was not my brightest moment. Oh crap, I also told it to build. so we don't actually want you to build. Not great. Okay. Go ahead and let that compile. And now we should have a drop down that actually makes sense. Oh my goodness. Seriously. Unity. Jeez. Ta-da! There it is. Cool. Well, that was somewhat less impressive because Unity has a built-in physics thing. So I guess I must have just built that for work. I built it a long time ago, so I guess I forgot. All right then. So that pretty much does everything I wanted. We'll go ahead and let that compile again. And I'm going to come down. No, that's fine. Let's go ahead. Take a look at this. So now I should be able to interact with everything. Shouldn't throw errors or anything of the sort. And we should get accurate. Okay, yep. No errors. No errors. Everything's working. Cool. So that's pretty cool. We now have a attribute that's super easy to use. That lets us get the int values, the actual int values, instead of the masking values of layers. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We also cleaned up a ton of garbage. Well, I say a ton, but really more like, what? Probably about 20 minimum kilobytes of garbage. Well, no, plus the occasional 120. So I think I've cleaned up roughly 200 kilobytes of garbage. Admittedly, only about 20 kilobytes per frame, but, still a respectable amount. Certainly no garbage, well, near zero garbage is better than 20 kilobytes of garbage per frame. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We will be back on Saturday. We will not. I don't think we're going to be doing our custom game logic on Saturday because I still need to do research, more research into how effectively to build that system out. It's kind of eluding me right now. So we'll probably work on some other custom game stuff on Saturday, but we will be back. So that's a good place to stop for the night. As always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.